Hey guys! So today I'm gonna do another album review, and I've been doing a lot of Demon Hunter reviews because if you know my channel, you know that I'm gonna do their entire discography, and I'm about halfway done. But I might put that on hold for a little bit because I'm gonna be going on vacation soon, and I'm pretty busy. I just found out this morning that Breaking Benjamin's Dark Before Dawn is 2 years old today. So it's the 2-year anniversary for that album, and I was thinking that I should do an album review real quick. I know the album so well. I've listened to it so many times, like literally so many times in the past 2 years. I've probably heard it more than most albums ever because I've just listened to it that many times. It's been in the car a lot. Yeah, anyway, this is one of the very few album reviews where I could get to show off the physical CD. Sorry if it's like reflecting, I have the curtains open, because if I don't have the curtains open the lighting is bad. And yeah, this is the physical CD. I don't have that many physical CDs, but I did get this one on the 4th of July 2015. And you open it up, and this is the CD, and it's really cool. Then here's the booklet. The booklet isn't all that special, I guess. It has just the lyrics. I do like the artwork though, it's pretty cool. Okay, so now that we got that over with, so the first track is Dark, and this is something really clever that Breaking Benjamin did. They had an intro on this album called Dark, and then they had the outro Dawn, and then the album title Dark Before Dawn, that's why it's called that. Phobia had an intro and outro too, but these are the only two Breaking Benjamin albums that have an intro and an outro. I do think that Dark Before Dawn did the intro and outro a lot better. I don't really like the intro and outro on Phobia. Yes, crucify me because I don't like something about Phobia, and Phobia is like a fan favorite. Jason Rauch, I hope I'm saying his last name right, from Red, joined Breaking Benjamin, and he played lead guitar on this album, and he also wrote the track Dark, and it's an intro. It's about 2 minutes long, and I love it. I usually skip intros. I usually do not like most intros. But I really love this track Dark. It doesn't have any lyrics in it, it's kind of ambient, and there's like talking in the background, and there's this kind of like bass line going on, and kind of this interesting percussion, and it's great, it sounds great. I think that they did a very good job with this. I think Jason did a wonderful job with the intro. And then track 2 is Failure, and this was their first single. They released it March 2015, and this single is definitely single material. Like, it was just made to be a single, definitely. It has a lot of the Diary of Jane vibes to it, and it sounds a lot like Phobia. And a lot of people noticed that. It's pretty apparent that this whole album sounds like Phobia. A lot of critics praised it for that, and a lot of them criticized it for that. When it came out though, I'd only heard a couple Breaking Benjamin songs. So Cold, Water, and The Diary of Jane. Those were the only, I don't know why I heard Water. I think that my brother had bought it. I know it's kind of like a random, like underrated track. It was actually one of the first I ever heard. I never really checked them out like I should have, and so I basically listened to Failure, and I didn't really like it when I heard it. I don't know why I didn't like it. To this day, I don't know. But now I think it's one of the best tracks, and it's definitely a standout. I think it was smart to make it the lead single. Track 3 is Angels Fall, and this was their second single. I do think that Breaking Benjamin chooses their singles very well. This one is kind of radio rock, like, it's really good. You know, I really like how it starts out. It's good. It's more mellow than Failure, but it's not a ballad, and the chorus very much stands out. I really like the chorus. Yeah, that's a pretty good one. I don't know if I'd call it a standout though. Alright, track 4 is Breaking the Silence, and this is one of my favorites. When I first heard the album, I loved Breaking the Silence. It was one of my favorites, and I thought it was just so heavy when I heard it. I mean, for Breaking Benjamin it is. You gotta admit that for them, it's heavy. You know, and I think they did it good. I mean, they've tried to kind of do the metal-tinged songs in the past, you know, with Believe. The song Believe was just, it felt like they were trying to do something they weren't good at doing. But with this track, I think that they nailed it. I think that they really got it. I'm pretty sure Ben does none of the screaming on this album. I'm pretty sure it's Aaron doing all the screaming, actually. But Aaron sounds just like Ben. I thought it was Ben too, but I feel like Aaron's screams were overproduced to make it sound like Ben. And another issue, I guess, is that Aaron cannot enunciate when he screams. I mean, I know that a lot of people can't enunciate when they're screaming, but seriously, like, dude, we don't even know what you're saying, like, wake up, blah, 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 blah. Like, literally no one understands what you're saying unless they look up the lyrics. Seriously, the guitars are just great on this, so great on this song. There's so much energy packed in there. I think the vocal harmonies are honestly the best thing this record has to offer. When Ben is singing with Aaron and Keith, it sounds so nice. Those 3-part harmonies are so good. They sound so similar to each other. It literally sounds like Ben is singing with himself and he's not, and it's really cool. I really have to applaud that. Track 5 is Hollow, and I'd honestly say, out of all these tracks, Hollow is by far the best track on here. It almost made it in my top 5 favorite Breaking Benjamin songs list that I put in that in the one video, my top 10 favorite bands. Hollow is so good because it has so much energy. I feel like the beginning of it is actually kind of like electronic-tinged. I don't know. And Hollow is so good because, again, the vocal harmonies are to die for, and I absolutely love Ben and Aaron harmonizing together. It sounds so good. And honestly, it's just like classic Breaking Benjamin, but this has a lot more energy. The riffs have character to them, and I absolutely love it. Track 6 is Close to Heaven, and I honestly think that tracks 4, 5, and 6, Breaking the Silence, Hollow, and Close to Heaven, and Bury Me Alive, which is track 7, which we'll get into in a minute, I think they're all the best. In the pre-chorus, it sounds just like The Unforgiven by Metallica. When Ben is like singing really kind of softly, and he's singing like, "Now keep love together," like that whole thing sounds just like it. I think the verses were good. They are just vocal harmonies all over this track. Again, I mean, I'm kind of praising the songs for the same things, but a lot of these songs are really similar. However, I somehow find a lot of enjoyment out of this. Maybe it's just because of nostalgia, maybe it's because it was my first Breaking Benjamin album that I listened through all the way. Track 7 is Bury Me Alive. This is my favorite when I first heard it, and I still love it a lot to this day. I don't think it's as good as Hollow, but it is a standout because Bury Me Alive has really good, kind of quiet, spooky verses, and that kind of remind me of like, the eeriness is something that I could compare to like Korn or something. Just the verse, like, and then Bury Me Alive in general is just really one of the best on here. It's just really great. It just captures you with the melody and everything. It's great. Track 8 is Never Again, and this is honestly, I would call it a dud. I know a lot of people who really love this song, and I cannot believe it got a music video. I feel like this is my least favorite on the album. It sounds a lot like the Diary of Jane, and I feel like it's too much. It's too kind of like samey, I don't know if that's a word. There's nothing that really stands out too much about it. I really love the music video though, and it made me kind of like the song more a little bit. But yeah, Never Again, I don't know, it's alright. Track 9 is The Great Divide. And The Great Divide is actually really good. It's pretty mellow, and I really like the atmosphere in this track. It's a bit different than a lot of the other songs. The bridge is amazing, and I love how the guitar riffs kind of dance around Ben singing with probably Keith and Aaron, because the harmonies are real tight. They're real layered. I absolutely love the transition back to the last chorus with the kind of moody guitar notes. It's a very good track. And then track 10 is Ashes of Eden, and this is kind of a softer one. This is the softest on here. It's definitely a ballad. And this is the song where they try something completely different. And a lot of people were like, it's too soft. Where'd the heavy Breaking Benjamin go? And it's like, everyone will complain about everything. They're literally complaining that this sounds too much like their old stuff. And then they're complaining that Ashes of Eden is too different. It's like, you can't win. But anyway, I really like this song. I enjoy listening to it so much. It's Breaking Benjamin's longest song to date, and I love that they made it a single because it's like so long. Like, I feel like bands don't do that enough. This track kind of has Christian undertones to it. Breaking Benjamin isn't a Christian band, but Jason Rauch was in Red, and Red is a Christian band, and I'm pretty sure Jason is a Christian. And I don't know if he wrote some of the lyrics or not, but anyway, that's just the way I interpret the lyrics are really kind of different for Breaking Benjamin, and I think this song in general is just so good and so mellow and so kind of experimental. I think they did this song justice. And then track 11 is Defeated, and this was another one of my favorites when I heard the record, but now it's like one of my least favorites. It kind of grew off of me because I feel like the verse is just kind of like, I feel like I could just snooze through the verse, like, I don't know. I mean, the chorus is definitely great and it kind of makes up for it, I think, but seriously, the verse, like, what were you thinking? I feel like it kind of contradicts the rest of the song and I don't really care for that, but I do like the chorus. I think this is kind of a more empowering song for Breaking Benjamin, because Breaking Benjamin has always been known as like kind of dark, you know, and I feel like this is an example of how they've kind of changed lyrically over the years, you know, because like We're Not Alone, there are songs like Breakdown and Forget It, which are just so depressing. I mean, honestly, I love those tracks very much, but they are very sad. This song is kind of not sad. It's called Defeated, but it's talking about not being defeated anymore. It's still pretty good. And then track 12 is the outro, which is Dawn, and I kind of skip past this a lot. I loved Dark. I loved the intro very much because of the atmosphere, but then Dawn I feel like is just like a snooze fest. I think it's supposed to be like that though. It's supposed to be really soft. And I do appreciate this sentiment behind this song because the tempo is literally Ben's son's heartbeat. And I think that's so cool, and Ben's wife is kind of doing backup, kind of singing, just like, there are no lyrics in this song, but there's just like, like that kind of singing in there, just kind of like vocalizing in the back, and I think it's really nice. I think of like, honestly, you know, the sun rising because, you know, dawn. Yeah. I think that it captured it well, you know, but it's just not for me. I just skip past it all the time. But yeah, very great album. Dark Before Dawn. I still need to put the booklet back in here. So yeah, this is Breaking Benjamin, Dark Before Dawn. It's been 2 years since it was released. It feels like that's kind of a long time because I'm so used to just calling it their new album, and it's not that new anymore. I can't wait till they release another album, honestly. I'm so hyped for it. I feel like overall, this album is extremely enjoyable. Like, if I could rate it just on my enjoyment factor, I'd probably rate it like a perfect score, but I cannot give this a perfect score. Like, it is not their best. I mean, props to you if you think it's their best and you really love it. Like, good for you. Like, I wish it was their best. That would have been cool if they'd come back with their, like, best record, you know, after the hiatus. But I think it's actually, like, besides Dear Agony, I think it's their weakest. They could have done more with this, but I understand because of the circumstances that Ben pretty much wrote like 95% of this record on his own. Obviously, Ben wrote like all of Breaking Benjamin's material pretty much by himself, and so that's why it ended up sounding just like their old stuff. But I think now, with all the new band members and they're pitching in a lot more with this new release, I'm especially hyped for this next album. I really hope that it kind of sounds like Saturate, or like something completely different we've never even heard. I do wish they would have ventured out a little bit more with this release, but overall it is so enjoyable. It's just classic Breaking Benjamin. It's one of those things where like the vocal harmonies just really, really make this album, and I think it makes it great. And so I will give this a moderate 8 out of 10. So that was the review. Please let me know what you thought about this album, what you think about it being 2 years old now. Wow, 2 years isn't that long, but still, like, it feels like it just came out yesterday. And let me know what album you want me to review next, because I'm open to suggestions, and thanks for watching, and see you in the next video.